we are. Every goal that went on. Here we are. Da 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 da. Do do. Lori says, looking forward to it. God is so good. Lori, I'm worried a little bit. I so appreciate your enthusiasm and you hopping on. But I've been thinking about it a lot this morning. We had a long show. Good evening. My name's Ken Tracy, and I have a show called Coffee with Ken. I've been doing for about 6 years, and talk about a variety of topics. I explore my own faith journey, if you will, and my prayer and my belief in a higher power and the goodness of God and the strength He gives us and all sorts of nice things. And I started reading the Old Testament here live for you, a couple chapters a night about 2.5 months ago. And when I told people I was doing it, most people said, hey, don't start at the Old Testament, skip it and go to the New Testament. And I was confused as to why. And now I'm 5 books in and I'm into the book of Deuteronomy, I still wonder why. And I still wonder why the words that are in, I almost think the words that are in the Old Testament and the God of the Old Testament is being covered up or hidden. And I'd love an opportunity to talk with my pastor about it at length. Do it on a live show and ask him to explain to me. Because Lori hopped on and said, God is so good. 5 chapters in, 5 books in, I'm still waiting for a good God. I don't see it. And I'm almost thinking, like that line is a bumper sticker more than a reality. If we are to believe the words that are in the Old Testament, God is commanding the people of Israel to genocide, to slaughter, and to rape, and to pillage, and to steal. And I don't get it. The more I read, it almost feels like the world's biggest cover-up. I've been going to church for 6 years. I've heard stories of bad things about Islam and bad words that are in the Quran and this and that. But I've been reading 2 chapters a night from the Old Testament, and I think it is a horrific book filled with violence and hate and rape and pillage and anger and a mean, angry God. And that is not the God I pray to during the night. And I'm wondering why it's not spoken about. And I'm also wondering why, if you go to a church, they tell you to skip the Old Testament. And it really kind of shocks me, because there's no doubt it's an angry God. He kills people for picking up sticks on a Sunday. He tells the people to stone people, to rape women, to kill babies. He does. It's all over the Old Testament. It is. It's not one passage. It's not one book. It's not one chapter. For 5 books I've been reading. And I just can't believe it. And I've been kind of going, well, I don't really get this. And I just don't understand. And I'd like to have I wish my pastor was here and I could go, Pastor, I love your sermon. I love your church. I go there. I feel good. They talk about a loving God, a great God, a this God and a that God. But I'm reading the Bible with an open mind, and I'm hearing nothing but a bloodthirsty God in the Old Testament. who's savage and vicious and mean and angry. Lynn says, I don't believe in God. Who says that? I'm worried. Lynn, have you read this Bible? Have you read the Old Testament? Have you read the Old Testament? I pray to God every night. I pray to God 20 times a day. I think I got a personal relationship with God. I'm starting to think the Old Testament is a book written by a bunch of pissed off white dudes that are trying to control society. I'm challenge you to read the Old Testament and tell me how great the God of the Old Testament is. All I heard before I started reading was how sinful man was, and that Jesus came to us in the New Testament to clear our sins. I'll tell you, the most sinful character in the Old Testament by far is God. And I'd like to have a discussion with somebody that can tell me otherwise. God commands the people of Israel to slaughter and rape. Every chapter, every book. It's ridiculous. So with that in mind, I'm going to be reading to you. And again, I haven't been this open and honest about it, but I just can't believe it. And I can't believe it's not spoken about. And I almost think it's the greatest cover-up in the history of faith. The evils that are not only condoned, but commanded for the people to do in the Old Testament. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Read the Old Testament. I guarantee it's there. It's not one passage. It is all over. So with that in mind, I'm going to read to you tonight. And again, my show is just being honest. I thought I would have gotten a little stronger faith or more belief, or, oh yeah, this is beautiful, or our God is a great God. The God I pray to all the time and tells me I am strong is not the God that is commanding the people of Israel to rape and slaughter and steal and burn. But that's what this Old Testament is, almost from cover to cover. I'm 5 books in. I'm looking for something a little more inspirational. And I think the message isn't the sin of man, but the anger of God. You're spiritual. You do not put my faith in mega million churches or preachers or the man-written Bible. Okay, and I maybe am coming to that. I'm reading this with an open mind, thinking these are the words of God. This is going to offend you. I feel like I'm reading Mein Kampf. And if you read it too, with an open mind as I am, every book, slaughter these people, rape these women, make slaves of these people, stone this dude. It's not the God I pray to. So anyway, tonight I'm going to be reading from the book of Deuteronomy, chapters 21 and 22. And I'm not trying to offend. I'm coming here reading it with an open mind and an open heart. And my heart is being blackened by the evil words that are in here. So do with that what you will. But I would encourage you to read the Old Testament. Don't listen to your Christian friends that tell you to bypass this and skip to the New Testament. Somebody's saying only Jesus. Then why is the Old Testament a part of this book? I'm hoping the New Testament gets better. Occasionally at my church, they'll put up quotes from the book of Deuteronomy or something like that, and they must have really looked hard to find a passage that's pleasant, because almost from cover to cover so far, it's been a hateful book and a book about, read it. I encourage you to. It's eye-opening. So anyway, I'll let you be the judge. I try not to throw so much of my own opinion in it. I've been trying to not give you any bias, but it's starting to wear me down. Every night I'm closing going, well, I'm shocked that God told him to do this to these people or to burn that town or to kill every baby, but I guess he did. And now I'm starting to come to my own conclusion. So I'm going to read, let's see. You know that Jesus wrote that too, right? Well, Jesus didn't write this because this is before Jesus. But I'm thinking it was man that wrote this, and it was an angry man that tried to scare a population into obeying their rules. I don't think this was written by God or any holy people at all, or those holy people were abusing the system to take power, and they were using it to scare people. And the God I pray to every night is not the God of the Old Testament. I'll just say that. I love the song, Same God. I cry at the song, Same God. The line that says, the God of David, although the one that faced Goliath, and although we don't all face Goliath, we all do face our own giants. And that line made me cry because I was going through a hellish second divorce and thinking about the obstacles I had to overcome and got inspiration from it. But I'm telling you, the God I pray to is not the God that's saying, hey, you found a guy picking up sticks on a Sunday, stone him to death. Or besiege this city. If they do surrender, make them slaves. If they don't surrender, slaughter all the men and rape all the women. It says it many times in the Old Testament. It does. It might say it tonight. Let me read before I continue wailing away. Chapter 21, the book of Deuteronomy. Atonement for unsolved murders. If in the land that the Lord your God is giving you to possess, someone is found slain, lying in the open country, and it is not known who killed him, then your elders and your judges shall come out, and they shall measure the distance to the surrounding cities. And the elders of the city that is nearest to the slain man shall take a heifer that has never been worked and that is not pulled in a yoke. And the elders of that city shall bring the heifer down to a valley with running water, which is neither plowed nor sown, and shall break the heifer's neck. I don't know why they're going to break the heifer's neck, but they are. In the valley. Then the priests, the sons of Levi, shall come forward, for the Lord your God has chosen them to minister to him and to bless in the name of the Lord. And by their word every dispute and every assault shall be settled. And again, all I know is I've read 3 lines, and for some reason we've broken the neck of a cow. Seriously. We've got an unsolved murder and a broken-necked cow. I'm not sure where the spirituality or I kid you not. But I'll continue reading. Shall come forward, for the Lord your God has chosen them to minister to him and to bless in the name of the Lord. And by their word every dispute and every assault shall be settled. And all the elders of that city nearest to the slain man shall wash their hands over the heifer whose neck was broken in the valley. And they shall testify, our hands did not shed this blood, nor did our eyes see it shed. Accept atonement, O Lord, for your people Israel, whom you have redeemed, and do not set the guilt of innocent blood in the midst of your people Israel, so that their blood guilt be atoned for. So you shall purge the guilt of innocent blood from your midst, when you do what is right in the sight of the Lord. So I guess that's how you solve an unsolved murder. You break the neck of a cow and you have some priests wash their hands over this poor cow. But anyway, next part, marrying female captives. When you go out to war against your enemies, and the Lord your God gives them into your hand, and you take them captive, and you see among the captives a beautiful woman, and you desire to take her to be your wife, and you bring her home to your house, she shall shave her head and pare her nails. And she shall take off the clothes in which she was captured, and shall remain in your house and lament her father and her mother a full month. After that, you may go into her and be her husband, and she shall be your wife. But if you no longer delight in her, you shall let her go where she wants. But you shall not sell her for money, nor shall you treat her as a slave, since you have humiliated her. All right, I'm going to start throwing a little narration, interpretation in it. We might change this to Bible study. So here we are. The people of Israel have besieged a town, and they've killed every man in the town. And they see a good-looking woman, and they say, I want her for my own. They'll take her, shave her head, clip her nails, let her chill out for a month, have sex with her, and if it's not pleasing, they may send her away. They won't sell her as a slave because she's already been humiliated enough. But they've killed everybody in the town. They've raped the woman. She wasn't pleasing. And God is saying, at this point, you send her out into the world. You've humiliated her enough. Inheritance, rights of the firstborn. If a man has two wives, the one loved and the other unloved, and both the loved and the unloved one have borne him children, and if the firstborn son belongs to the unloved, then on the day when he assigns his possessions as an inheritance to his sons, he may not treat the son of the loved one as the firstborn in preference to the son of the unloved, who is the firstborn. But he shall acknowledge the firstborn, the son of the unloved, by giving him a double portion of all that he has. For he is the firstfruits of his strength, the right of the firstborn is his. A rebellious son. If a man has a stubborn and rebellious son who will not obey the voice of his father or the voice of his mother, and though they discipline him, will not listen to them, then his father and his mother shall take hold of him and bring him out of the elders of his city at the gate of the place where he lives. And they shall say to the elders of the city, this is our son, is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard. Then all of the men of the city shall stone him to death with stones. So you shall purge the evil from your midst, and all Israel shall hear and fear. So, if you have a rebellious son, everyone in the village stones him to death. And again, it's every chapter in the Old Testament. Every chapter is slaughtering somebody, stoning somebody, raping some woman. And I'm wondering where the goodness of God is, when he's going to reveal himself. Because it's hurting me to read this word. Every paragraph is about stoning somebody, raping somebody, or slaughtering somebody. And I don't understand. So I read on. A man hanged on a tree is cursed. And if a man has committed a crime punishable by death, and he is put to death, and you hang him on a tree, his body shall not remain all night on the tree, but you shall bury him the same day. For a hanged man is cursed by God. You shall not defile your land that the Lord your God is giving you for an inheritance. Chapter 22, various laws. You shall not see your brother's ox or his sheep going astray and ignore them. You shall take them back to your brother. And if he does not live near you and you do not know who he is, you shall bring it home to your house, and it shall stay with you until your brother seeks it. Then you shall restore it to him. And you shall do the same with his donkey or with his garment or with any lost things of your brother's, which he loses and you find. You may not ignore it. You shall not see your brother's donkey or his ox fallen down the way and ignore him. You shall help him to lift him up again. A woman shall not wear a man's garment, nor shall a man... LGBTQ probably does not like this passage. Nor shall a man put on a woman's cloak, for whoever does these things is an abomination to the Lord your God. Look, I'm not into wearing women's dresses, but if a dude wants to wear a dress, I don't see why God would care too much. Seems a little unusual to me, but whatever floats your boat. Sorry for my narration. Tonight's one is a fun one. Let's keep going. If you come across a bird's nest in any tree or on the ground with young ones or eggs, and the mother sitting on the young or on the eggs, you shall not take the mother with the young. You shall let the mother go, but the young you may take for yourself, that it may go well with you and that you may live long. When you build a new house, you shall make a parapet for your roof, that you may not bring the guilt of blood upon your house, if anyone should fall from it. You shall not sow your vineyard with two kinds of seed, lest the whole yield be forfeited. The crop that you have sown and the yield of the vineyard. You shall not plow with an ox and a donkey together. You shall not wear cloth of wool and linen mixed together. You shall make yourself tassels on the four corners of the garment of which you cover yourself. Again, I struggle to wonder why God is concerned with if an ox and a donkey are pulling at the same time, and whether you mix wool and linen in your clothing. Okay, here we go. Laws concerning, and again, I'm not handpicking what I'm reading. This has been 2.5 months of my reading experience, and I apologize for throwing so much of my own opinion into tonight's reading, but I've just been reading and kind of ignoring, going, what the heck is this all about? What is this all about? What is the point? I don't see the humans sinning. I see God sinning. I see the words of God and the commandments he makes as angry and mean and cruel and vicious. And it confuses me. So I read on. Laws concerning sexual immorality. If a man takes a wife and goes into her and then hates her and accuses her of misconduct and brings a bad name upon her, saying, I took this woman, and when I came near her, I did not find in her evidence of virginity. Then the father of the young woman and her mother shall take and bring out the evidence of her virginity to the elders of the city and the gate. And the father of the young woman shall say to the elders, I gave my daughter to this man to marry, and he hates her. And behold, he has accused her of misconduct, saying, I did not find in your daughter evidence of virginity. And yet This is the evidence of my daughter's virginity. And they shall spread the cloak before the elders of the city. Then the elders of that city shall take the man and whip him, and they shall fine him 100 shekels of silver, and give them to the father of the young woman, because he has brought a bad name upon a virgin of Israel. And she shall be his wife. He may not divorce her all his days. But if the thing is true, that evidence of the virginity was not found in the young woman, then they shall bring out the young woman to the door of her father's house, and the men of her city shall stone her to death with stones, because she has done an outrageous thing in Israel by whoring in her father's house. So you shall purge the evil from your midst. I mean, honestly, I feel bad reading these words to you because I do not feel they are good or kind, and these are supposed to be the words of God. And I don't know. Because the woman wasn't a virgin, not only does she not get married, she gets stoned to death. Because she did an outrageous thing in Israel by whoring in her father's house. If a man is found lying with his wife of another man, both of them shall die, the man who lay with the woman and the woman. So you shall purge the evil from Israel. Again, I don't believe in infidelity, but it seems pretty harsh. If there is a betrothed virgin, and a man meets her in the city and lies with her, then you shall bring them both out to the gate of that city, and you shall stone them to death with stones. The young woman, because she did not cry for help, though she was in the city, and the man, because he violated his neighbor's wife. So you shall purge the evil from your midst. But if in an open country a man meets a young woman who is betrothed, and the man seizes her and lies with her, then only the man who lay with her shall die. But you shall do nothing to the young woman. She has committed no offense punishable by death. For this case is like that of a man attacking and murdering his neighbor, because he met her in the open country, and though he betrothed the young woman, cried for help, there was no one to rescue her. If a man meets a virgin who is not betrothed and seizes her and lies with her, and they are found, then the man who lay with her shall give to the father of the young woman 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he has violated her. He may not divorce her all his days. A man shall not take his father's wife, so that he does not uncover his father's nakedness. And let me read that again, because this is how chapter 22 of the book of Deuteronomy ends. A man shall not take his father's wife, so that he does not uncover his father's nakedness. And with that, I'm done reading chapter 21 and 22 from the book of Deuteronomy. And I apologize for any unneeded narration on my part or my thoughts as I was reading it. But it's just night after night after night after night. It's nothing but stoning people, raping people, clean and unclean. I just find it an extremely unpleasant book filled with anger and rape and incest and yuckiness. And I don't think I think it comes from the top. The yuckiness isn't coming from the people of Israel necessarily. I'm wondering why God has chosen certain people and looks at the rest of the world as horrible people and tells them to commit genocide and rape on different civilizations. And I read it every night, and it's starting to come out my pores, the yucky feeling I'm getting reading every night about if a guy rapes a virgin and she doesn't scream, they both get stoned. Night after night after night, I'm getting the same message. And honestly, it's kind of hard to read. So anyway, I want to thank you so much for joining. I'm going to read, it's going to be 2 more chapters, another 15 minutes tomorrow about who you should stone and why you're going to break a cow's neck and stuff like that. I'm telling you, read the Old Testament and ask. I'd love to talk to a pastor about it. Somebody that, I was advised so many times, I'll skip the Old Testament, just go to the New Testament. I'm wondering why it's in here and why it's part of the Holy Bible and how it's the same God, the God of David, and the God I pray to every night. And my hope is that the answers come clear to me as I keep digging through this mire and muck that is the Old Testament. Yeah. So anyway, I want to thank you for joining. I hope you have a wonderful evening. It's Monday night. I hope you are feeling good. I hope you are loving yourself. I hope you're forgiving yourself. And as always, I hope to talk to you soon. Bye-bye.